Welcome. Oh. I don't know what happened. Welcome to the Fallout House of Secrets edition. Ooh. Where we are your number one source for the fallout of all things reality TV. Today we are here with part 2 of our week 5 recap for Big Brother Australia 2021. I'm Logan Murphy.
I'm Jordyn Lagace, also known as BB Can's source.
And we are back. Jordyn, it has been 84 years since I've seen you. How are you doing?
I know. We both had a rough few days. We didn't film what we wanted to film. But you know what? It's okay. It's probably better for that. Because
absolutely,
we're about to start the journey of our own version of Hell Week.
Oh, good Lord. Are we ever? Yeah, I am just so thrilled about what we have on the horizon. No, I am actually really excited about it. It's going to be a good time. But yeah, so we're here. We've got one episode to talk about today. So it's probably going to be a little bit of a shorter episode for y'all. We're just here to talk
about episode 17. Kathy, like.
Well, I mean, we probably will, because there's just a lot of birds to talk about, Jordyn. All of the birds, and more birds. Birds, and more birds.
Birds across the board.
Yes, birds. That's what we should have named this episode.
Birds across
the board. Absolutely. Now, but yeah, so we will be talking all things episode 17 of BBAU. But before we get started, if you are watching with us live or after the fact on YouTube, make sure you're subscribing to the channel, turning on notifications, liking, subscribing, sharing, all that lovely stuff. If you're listening to us afterwards, wherever fine podcasts can be listened to, make sure you are also following, giving us likes, comments, shares, all that kind of stuff, because we are probably the only podcast in North America covering Big Brother Australia. So, like, you're kind of stuck with us. Sorry.
So, how long has Big Brother been on Cameo? Because that was an interesting thing we learned this week.
Yeah, so we find out that the main guy, I assume, who plays Big Brother, is on Cameo. So that's really fucking cool.
Everybody go get him booked and blessed. He will put you in the naughty corner.
Oh my God.
He'll do whatever you need him to do.
Not that. So yeah, and make sure you're following us on Twitter as well for all of the up-to-date news about all of your favorite reality shows in the interim when we're not, live or you don't have an episode to watch. And with that being said, Jordyn, we start day 39 in the BBAU house, and there's a lot of fucking birds. Why are we keeping live birds in cages in a Big Brother house? I'm sorry. I'm going to say this every time there are live animals in the Big Brother house. I want to know,
also, like, my whole thing is, what is the turnover time? Like, how are they getting all of this done overnight? People can't sleep that light.
No, I think the door fully closes and there's like blackout. Like, I think it's blackout from the inside, so they don't get any light coming in. I would assume. Because, yeah, like, you have to have all of the lights on in order to, like, put together this entire operation. Like, it was probably within, like, 6-7 hours.
Yeah, because they changed the wallpaper. They changed the countertops.
They brought,
unless we didn't notice it till now, but I feel
because I think if I remember the timeline correctly, evictions happen like early evening. Evictions are like 5 or 6, and then which would make nomination comps like 10-11 a.m. maybe. On the day, because everything happens in the one day. So it's like nomination comp at like 10 or 11 before it gets like too overly hot. And then noms happen around noon, depending on how long the comp takes. And then they have the afternoon to like plea. And then the eviction happens around like 5 or 6.
Ooh,
And then they go to bed around like 10,
that's a
I
full-on
think.
whirlwind of a day, if you ask me.
Oh, absolutely.
Aside from like there being way too many fucking birds, Mitchell would have loved this task.
I feel like
And
this was
this
tailor-made for Mitchell, and I'm
they
really
were they
sad he's
were
not in the
not
house.
expecting Mitchell to be gone.
No.
He was supposed to still be there, maybe. But like,
I feel like this has to be tailor-made for him. Like you have
right.
you have a fucking bird watcher on your season. Like obvious. Like this felt very much like tailored for Mitch, like the obstacle course nomination challenge felt for Katie.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like that's how I felt with this, and I wasn't mad about this at all. The only issue that I have is like again, why are we bringing live birds, live animals into a Big Brother house? Like I know there's like, oh my god, the gag, there's a wild fucking emu, and it's like pecking at Sid's head. But like, why are we doing this? Like it upsets me, and I'm obviously like love animals, animal rights, all that kind of stuff, and I'm just like, why do we need this? Like they've done it on multiple seasons of Big Brother US. They did it on the most recent season of BB Can. I'm like, why do we need live animals? Can we just stop? Can we stop doing live animals?
Do you remember like in BB Can, I know for sure they had an animal task in season 4, was it? They brought in the British Bulldogs for Nikki, and then they also brought the kangaroos in for Tim.
Well, so that sort of situation, the Bulldogs I'm fine with, I guess.
You were okay with
but
the puppies earlier in the season?
Yeah, the puppies are fine. Because they're not like staying, you know what I mean? Like these birds had to be in the house for like an extended period of time in an environment that didn't suit them. I don't even really like the kangaroos on BB Can 4. Like they're very clearly shipped from another country. Like, I'm just not a fan of it. Like, if they're domesticated animals, I think for me that's a different case because this is a house. So like dogs, I don't mind. Cats, I don't mind. But when you're bringing in fucking snakes, when you're bringing in like wild birds, that's kind of where it crosses the line for me.
The snakes were probably very house snakes. You know what I mean?
Oh, 100%. I just still don't like it. You know what I mean? Like
they probably came from like a traveling reptile zoo of some kind.
All of these probably did, which is like fine. But like just don't leave them in the house for an extended period of time. Like that's just what it is for me.
They were only in there for like 2 hours, I think.
Well, no, they had to have been in there for at least a couple hours prior to the task starting.
Maybe not the live animals. They could have wheeled them in because remember the wall out in the backyard? Mm-hmm. So like they could have been like that could have been like happened last or whatever. And
but it still would have taken a lot of time to like set up the ones in the house as well. You know what I mean? Like that's kind of where
I agree.
I'm just like, why do we need the gag of live animals? Like, there's plenty of other things you can gag over. A stretch limo, giant rubber ducks falling into the pool. Like, those are cute gags, but like,
Big Brother Australia likes it. Counting tasks.
And this is another counting task we get. So it is the shopping task for the week, which I wasn't surprised about. They have to count the birds. And if they're within 100, they get a $500 shopping budget, which still, for 13 people, doesn't seem like enough.
They should have did like $1,000 one.
Well, they lost the $1,000 one last week, so...
No, but like, at least like with the counting... Wasn't it Ari that like guessed it almost exact?
We'll get there, but yes. Yeah, so they just have to count all the birds. There's wallpaper, there's blankets, there's live fucking animals. At one point,
confetti.
Oh my god, the fucking flamingo confetti killed me. Tilly gets to meet Squawk. I was like, okay, Squawk, work Squawk. Still don't
She
like that you're in the
loves
house, but work
Squawk.
Squawk. I love Squawk. And it's funny at this point because Tilly goes into the diary room to meet Squawk, and we get like a good, actually, like game conversation from Tilly. She's hoping that her big move and like nominating Mitch and ultimately being the reason Mitch got out. She hopes it doesn't backfire, and it's kind of better that Jess doesn't know that Danny voted against her, because at this point, Jess is still kind of in the dark about what happened with the vote, but assumes that Danny voted with her.
Ooh. And not for long, because
we will talk about it. Oh my god. Meanwhile, Jordyn, in the halfway room, panic room, house room, panic, halfway. Mitch is like, I want to work with anybody. Half a house. Mitch wants to work with everyone. Cool.
Oof. Not a good move, mate. Not a good move.
I also love, I want to point out the one thing I think I loved about the task the most, besides it's raining ducks, which I was like, it's raining ducks, copyright, was Danny and stop that. Was Danny and Adriana going into the laundry to find the pigeons and the coffees. I was like, this is dumb. This is no.
And Adriana would not lift the lid.
Adriana hated this task. This was not her task. I don't really think it would have been my task either. I'm not like the biggest fan of birds, but I would have been like,
okay, I wouldn't. Okay. I've had encounters with birds.
I have too.
I had an encounter with an aggressive theme park pigeon.
I had an encounter with an aggressive goose when I was 6. I don't like geese. Like, they're just like,
Listen. This pigeon flew down from a tree, stole my barbecue sauce and my chicken nuggets, went back into the tree above me, and started eating them.
Gag. Yeah, I just got chased by a goose. I just got chased by a goose when I was 6.
Stole my food. So the emus would have made you nervous?
Probably. I mean, one of them like fully like bit Sid's head. I was like, there has to be blood there. Like, there has to be blood.
Chaos ensued.
Yeah, so they finished the task, and I think it was was it Christina or was it Jess that had like the final number? And Ari was like, I would guess 7,500. And they end up guessing 9,230, and the actual number was 7,582. So if they had just gone with Ari's guess, they would have won, which is kind of gag worthy to me.
I mean, Ari is one of those people, like, I think it's too late at this point. He has a pretty good clear shot to get to the end. And if he does, he has a good case.
He has a great case.
Because, like,
absolutely,
he's gone from enemy number 1, and now all of a sudden they're forgetting about him again.
Mm-hmm. They are, yeah. I think
watch. The other thing that would have made me, like, if I was in there with Ari saying that number out loud and it being that close, I would have been like, Ari must know.
He's gotta go.
Yeah,
he's gotta go.
He's got the days, he's got the numbers. Like, why is he here?
I don't remember. Are days and things like that important for BBAU? I don't remember last year's format. I don't think they do like a days comp.
I don't think so either, but like they definitely, like, there's a lot of counting, it seems like.
Yeah. Which is always good.
Maybe they want to keep him around because they'll not have to worry about failing any more shopping tasks because they can't win one.
Right. I also thought this was a cute little moment after they failed the shopping task. So they're on I want to point out they're on basic rations for the week, which
Tuna.
we love. We love some tuna and some spinach and some chickpeas.
Will the burnt chickpea send somebody home?
Well, it didn't send Tilly home the first time, so we'll see.
Look, they're going into. Oh, I just thought about that for a second. They're going into Hell Week on basic rations.
Oh God, that's horrible. We'll talk about Hell Week. I have some thoughts. But Brenton and SJ made Christina a bracelet. How cute.
Okay, that moment was far too cute.
I know. And then they have the world's most awkward kiss through the door.
And then there's Mitch over here going, "Where's my bracelet?"
Right? I was like, oh, poor Mitch. So that's day 39 for us, Jordyn. We're on to day 40. We get a good old
Was it
SJ
day
yoga
40?
segment.
Was it day 40 that Danny does what Danny does?
We're about to talk about it.
Oh,
we are about to
I
talk
am
about
ready
so
to talk
SJ's
about...
SJ's doing some yoga. Danny made a stack of tuna cans. Mitch and Christina are still in the halfway room with their basic rations because they're also on basic rations. I was like, oh, that's horrible. And then Danny and Tilly, Danny and Tilly have a conversation where they talk about how Jess and Marley are running the house. So what does Danny do? He goes to Jess and he says, yeah, we're not working together anymore.
Danny.
How fucking dumb is this man? Like, genuinely?
He's either brilliant or dumb, and I no longer can decide.
Why are you gonna tell someone that you're not working with them anymore?
Like, wouldn't you just let them find out when you voted them out?
On a day where you have to know there's gonna be a nomination challenge. Like, huh? And so Jess the whole time is like, no, Danny, no. Like,
you can't break the seal. What are you doing? Why?
But Danny's like, I don't care. And so it's interesting to me. We get a little DR sort of segment from Jess, and she's like, well, I think I have Mary, SJ, Marley, Tilly, Charlotte, Sid, and Ari on my side. And we're it's all going to turn on Danny. And I'm like, Jess, baby. I think maybe one of those people is on your side. Maybe.
If you're lucky.
Very that. Like, you think Tilly is on your side?
Tilly nominated Mitch, your closest ally.
Like, I wanna continue to like Jess, but just like everything she's saying and everything she's doing, her and Danny both. Like, I'm like, nah, fuck y'all. I'm gonna focus on like Ari, obviously, love Ari. I love this development that Christina has gotten while in the halfway room.
Yes.
The new narrative of Christina,
I think with
rising
Christina,
from the ashes.
Yeah, she's getting that Phoenix edit.
Mm-hmm.
My camera's dirty. It's driving me bonkers.
I'm like, we love some mid live stream camera cleaning. So yeah, after this, Jordyn, we go straight into the nomination challenge. How do you think you would have done in this one?
What was it again? Let me
So it's the one where you're holding the rope behind you. So you're like fully behind you and you have to hold on to it.
I would have fucking slayed this challenge because what you do is you close your eyes and don't look down.
Oh, my fat ass would not have been able to handle this challenge. I probably would have been like fourth down. Yeah, I'm just being honest. This is not my comp.
I guess like also too, like you would have to have things like with the vertigo symptoms. Yeah, I could see that's probably what's gonna throw you off.
Here's here's my question.
You
Jordyn.
go into you close your eyes, go into a zone similar to what Mel was doing in the early challenges. Don't blink, don't talk.
You would have been fine. What I want to ask though. So SJ could do this challenge, but couldn't do the over the head one, which begs the question. Then what is your injury, SJ?
SJ's injury was, I don't know,
because it was a shoulder injury. So I feel like arms behind your back,
she would have.
But over the head, she can't do. Is it like a rotator cuff injury?
Maybe.
It's kind of what I would assume, because I think you could go back with a rotator cuff, but you couldn't go like up. SJ, if you're listening, we would like to know. We just would like to know.
SJ, fill us in. We want to know.
Right.
We want the tea. And if you're watching, come join us. Join us all.
That'd be gag worthy. I would love that. So the winner of this nomination challenge, Jordyn, gets to nominate one person because they're going to be solely deciding the third halfway house guest, and then one of the three are going to be evicted. And I was like, okay. Confused, but okay.
Choices.
Yeah, very that. So everybody's up there, and some of the big, powerful manses fall early. Adriana was the first out, and then Danny falls. We then see Mary and Marley fall relatively soon. Ari falls.
Can we talk about Adriana falling? I think she could have did this.
I don't know. I feel like from what we've seen, her strengths are in maybe just her upper body, but this feels very core and upper body. So I feel like, I don't know. It was interesting to see her fall first. I wasn't surprised that Danny fell first. So a bunch of people fall. We end up with a final three in this challenge of Tilly, not surprised. Charlotte, not surprised. And Queen Icon SJ. And I was like, wait, hold the fuck on. Is SJ about to get a fucking win? Is SJ about to get a win? And then Charlotte. Oh my God.
Falls. Here's the question. What would SJ have done?
Well, no, here's more importantly. So Charlotte falls. It's SJ and Tilly. If I'm Tilly, I'm safe with SJ. Make a fucking deal, because she's struggling. And then that would be the thing to bring her on side.
Tilly's and really even then this challenge beast at it.
Yeah, but I easily I would have, if I was in Tilly's position, and no shade to Tilly, because obviously she wanted the win. If I'm up there with SJ, I make a quick deal with SJ and I give her the win. And even then, I think if Tilly had been on the block against Mitch and Christina, I think the outcome probably would have stayed the same, if I'm being honest. Yep. I don't know. But SJ has to get helped down, which I was like, icon legend.
There were medics too.
There were, yeah. She fully had to get pulled back. She was freaking out, almost having a panic attack up there. Tilly does end up winning the challenge, which obviously good for Tilly. But huge, major, incredible shout outs to SJ for coming second in this challenge. Queen shit. Also, I'm gonna say queen shit for Tilly as well, because Tilly has now set a record for the most challenge wins on BB Australia. And mind you, there have only been 2 seasons in this format, but girl has won 5 challenges.
Yes. Impressive.
Incredible.
If you would have told me going into this season Tilly was going to be a challenge beast, I would have been like, are you sure about that?
I would have laughed.
Right. 100%. Are you sure about that?
Mm-hmm. But I was so happy for her. Obviously, because we do love Tilly here at the Fallout. Yeah, so Tilly now has her 5th win. She also didn't win the group challenge. I want to point that out. This is, I believe, 4 individual wins and a paired win with Melissa, which like is even more impressive to me. Yeah, so she has to go in for nomination. She only has to nominate one person today because the other 2 noms are automatically Christina and Mitch. She ultimately puts up Brenton. And I thought this was a very smart move on her end because
Also,
her reasoning.
Yeah. I also would say that was like a brilliant move on her part. I was annoyed, but I was like, you're not wrong.
So her reasoning is that, you know, she's going to put Brenton up with Christina, which forces another vote onto Mitch, which is just furthering her plan of getting Mitch out of the house. Okay, queen of strategy, queen of competitions. She is really, you know, she is really proving exactly what she said she was going into the season. Like, people underestimated her. And she has now won 5 competitions and has shown a very, very strong social games. I think if
she was
Tilly
nominated,
makes it to the end,
was she nominated more than? Okay, so
one time.
And after that one time, she has not touched the block. And that's just,
but she won all 5 of her challenges after that point. Like, I think she was nominated and won the next challenge, if I remember correctly. Like, if Tilly makes it to the end, I find it hard for anyone to beat her, to be honest.
I do too. And like, they're giving, it's an interesting edit that they're giving her.
It is an interesting edit, isn't it? Like, I'm worried given the edit she's getting.
Yeah, I'm a little nervous. That being said, I could say what I will say. I know. Let's get through this and then dive into speculation corner because I do have thoughts. Holy shit! Okay. I just moved my computer.
Not that. So fallout of noms. Danny is kind of unsure about where SJ, Mary, and Sid kind of lie with this vote. It becomes very clear very quickly that Christina is safe, which I love to see because I really
love that for Christina.
Love Christina. Love that for Christina. It also becomes very clear very quickly the swing votes in this vote are going to be Mary and Sid. That is kind of where the swing is and kind of where the swing has been for the majority of the season. Which is a very interesting case for should either one of them make it to the end. I think that's a really good point, is like, especially Sid, because Sid, unfortunately for Mary's already been evicted once. And I don't necessarily know if the Australian public is going to give, so as much as I love SJ and Mary, I don't know if they're going to give either one of them the win because they've already been evicted. But I don't know how the Australian public really feels about that. So we'll see.
And I wonder too, because like, are they going to credit SJ? Or are they going to give the credit to like Danny, even though SJ was the one who formalized do you know what I'm talking about?
Which
so
plan?
Like the Mitch move, that plan, will they give credit as credit is due if she gets there? Or are they going to be like, oh,
I think if she brings it up, a lot of people may be like, oh, that's an interesting point. And the other important thing to keep in mind as we have the entire season is that the Australian public is going to vote who wins. And so we don't really know. Like, from online, what we see, if I'm being 100% honest, from what I've seen online at this point, if Danny makes final 3, Danny wins, and it doesn't matter who he's up
Danny
against.
Seems to be like a favorite.
Which I don't necessarily understand. I have a few people I like a lot more than Danny on my pecking order.
Me too.
Yeah, so we get a lot of Mary talking in this, scrambled egg moment. Jordyn, she is scared of Mitch, but she's also scared of Danny making this new army with Brenton and Christina that he seems to have developed. The like Danny, SJ, Brenton, Christina alliance going against the Jess and the Marley.
Yeah.
So I understand. So Mary ends up really becoming sort of the swing in this scenario. Sid is also a little worried of both of them as well. And we go to the eviction room, and do you remember what Sonia was wearing? Because I don't think I do, unfortunately.
No.
Was it white?
It might have been white.
Was it the white straps with like the weird shaped bodice? Was that it?
Maybe.
I don't remember.
I
Sorry,
thought
Sonia.
I thought
You
there
looked
was
great.
like this like purple shade that we use. I could have sworn I had
Was
seen
it the
something
purple
like
moment?
that this week.
Yeah, there was like the navy blue moment. We talked about it on Wednesday's episode.
Yeah.
It was like in the navy
think this
blue
might have
moment.
been
White, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember. I could go look, but regardless, I'm gonna assume that you looked great because you always do, Sonia. So, like we said, it's Christina, Mitch, and Brenton up on the block as the halfway house guest. One of them will be evicted. Christina says that she was way more confident when Mitch went into the halfway room. She's not really stoked to be up against either of them because she did want to work with both of them, obviously moving forward. But I think it becomes very clear very quickly, at least where Christina and Brenton's votes are lying. Mitch is sort of pitching to the group, work with him since he has made it very clear he can win challenges. So he's kind of spinning that target into like, but work with me because then we will have numbers and I can win challenges for you so we can push these agendas.
Do you think that was the way for him to approach that?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I loved the pitch from him. Whether it was beneficial or not, I did like it. What did you think about it?
I thought to myself, oh, you're just showing them that you can win challenges again. Maybe now's the time to be getting you out.
Yeah, I think that was an important thing for him to bring up, but I also think maybe if he had played into the human aspect of it and brought up his kid, maybe that would have been a little bit more beneficial for him. I don't know if the result ultimately would have changed, but I did like his pitch. And that is honestly a pitch I would consider if I was in the house, like as someone who probably wouldn't be winning a lot of challenges. Jess is sort of coming to bat for Mitch, saying also that he is one person as opposed to Brenton and Christina being a two, to which, once again, we get this, true, but we get this sort of backlash, I guess, from Christina and Brenton, saying they're not always going to vote together, but Sonia does ask Christina if she would vote Brenton out, and she does say no. And if I were sitting in that house, Jordyn,
I would have said, yeah.
I would have been voting Brenton out. 100%, I would have been voting Brenton out.
Like, I don't think you want to be telling the house that
there's someone,
this person, I'm never going to vote them out. Yeah. No, I would have lied through my teeth and been like, I'd vote him out. I don't care.
Yeah, 100%. I think that's honestly where the inexperience
and I would
gameplay comes in.
If I was like in a showman's, I would say the same thing for the other person.
Yeah.
Don't let in on that you're always going to vote together. Just be like, we're playing separate games.
Yeah. The other interesting thing I will say is Ari's talking with Sonia, and he says that he doesn't really think it's Alliance A versus Alliance B anymore, and it's kind of more of these like small pockets coming together for voting blocks, which is a strategy we've seen more implemented in the more recent seasons of Survivor, which I thought was an interesting strategy coming into a Big Brother game. I like the idea of voting blocks in a Big Brother scenario. We kind of
It's
saw that a
smart.
little bit with BB Can this season because we had so many pairs in the trio, the throuple. And so they always came together, but it wasn't always like solidified things. So it is an interesting sort of dynamic to see that, like, at this point, it's kind of become clear that, like, Brenton and Christina are always obviously a duo. Mary and SJ are obviously a duo. Adriana and Danny are kind of creating a duo for themselves. Jess and Marley are a duo, and then it's kind of like all of these, like, there's a few little like floating pieces in between. So yeah, I think it's interesting to
Australia
see.
too, like the game changes so fucking quick.
Well, yeah, because everything
Like I feel
happens
like
like
this one, like this feels more chaotic than like a normal season of Big Brother to me.
it does. I think it's because there's so little time to strategize and there's so little time to overthink. I think that's the big thing with a North American Big Brother format is like you have a full, like, after the veto ceremony, you have 3.5 days to like
Flip flop and a waffle.
overthink, flip flop, the waffling, all of that stuff.
The falafeling.
It is very interesting to see this perspective on a Big Brother game. I don't think it's my favorite format. I think I'd have to maybe watch if they continue this format in future seasons, which I hope they do. I think it would be really interesting to see how more groups of house guests in the coming years sort of deal with this sort of format. But we do get to the vote, Jordyn. And Christina received no votes. Thank the Lord, Christina is in. And by a vote of 8-4, they actually evicted someone this week, Jordyn.
Finally.
Someone was actually evicted. Honestly, yeah, by Mitch. Like I'm like, I'm good.
Yeah, no, that was the move to make because
absolutely.
Even like being beside Brenton, I could see the appeal to like take the showmance out. But Mitch was a beast at challenges. Like, take the shot while you've got the shot.
100%. And I think that's exactly what they did, and I love to see it.
And that's why they did what they did. And do you think if Mitch survived the week, do you think they got the opportunity again?
No. Absolutely
no. I don't think so either.
Absolutely not. I think Mitch just would have won out. I think it would have been a battle between like Mitch, Brenton, Tilly, maybe Adriana thrown in there, maybe a Charlotte for challenges. But I definitely think Mitch probably would have dominated the remaining challenges, with the exception of maybe if we get a puzzle. I don't know if we're getting a puzzle at this point. Probably not. I think the closest we're getting to a puzzle is the bouncing the balls onto the blocks thing that took Katie out. I think that's the closest we're getting to like a puzzle, but that's not even a puzzle.
Yeah, that's the one that Danny won with Marley.
That's the one that took Katie out. Yeah.
Remember Katie? Katie.
I know, right? So we say goodbye to Mitch. A very short stay for Mitch in the Big Brother house, but you were nice to look at. Thanks for the eye candy.
Yeah, and you know what? You played the game. Like, be proud of that. 100%. You didn't flip-flop and waffle. You were true to your peeps. And with that, it is time for
Speculation Corner. Da-da-da.
Really good.
All right, Jordyn, give us some Speculation Corner. What do you got?
We're going into Hell Week. And you know what? God. I think Hell Week comes with a big eviction.
Mm-hmm.
I, honest to God, wouldn't be surprised if we see Danny leave.
Oh, okay.
Or even like Ari might fall on the sword. I think it
Okay.
all depends on what Big Brother decides to put these bitches through. And judging from the promo, lots of water involved, cages.
Yeah. So it's that Survivor comp where you have to hold your breath. Normally it's in the ocean, obviously, because Survivor. But this one's in like an enclosed cage. It's like it feels weird. I would not do well in that challenge at all. I don't
It feels
care.
claustrophobic.
Oh, the moment I get claustrophobic underwater, I'm done. Like, no, ma'am, can't do it. Sorry.
Where's the medic?
I think, honestly, given the house dynamics at this point, I could see a Danny or an Ari going. I think it's a little bit more likely that we see Jess going this week, if I'm being honest.
Who knows? We could get 3 people leaving because it's Hell Week.
I think we're back to that format because now we're back to 12, which is, I do also want to talk about formatting because I believe we are in the last 3 weeks, is what I'm assuming.
Lord.
We're over the hump. We've made it. So we're at 12. So if we get rid of 12, if it's normal scheduling, I don't think we're getting an episode on Sunday. So I think it's Monday through Wednesday. I think we're going to drop to 9 house guests at the end of this week, drop to 6 at the end of this week. And then I believe finale is going to be the Wednesday of week 8.
Ooh.
Is kind of where I'm at with it. I think maybe that's likely. So I think we're only in for another 3 weeks of BBAU unless they decide, you know what, we're at top 10 again. We're going to throw in 47 more house guests and maybe some more birds. Who fucking knows?
The birds are coming back in to play the game.
What I will say,
as intruders.
Oh my God, stop that. I do also want to point out, if I remember correctly, and someone can correct me, the BBAU fandom wiki, which biggest shout outs in the world to them because they keep us up to date with all of what I pulled from them today. I also want to talk about the voting breakdown before we get.
Oh, yes.
Quick pause from Speculation Corner. So the votes to evict Mitch this week were Adriana, Ari, Brenton, Christina, Danny, Mary, SJ, and Sid. The votes to evict Brenton were Charlotte, Jess, Marley, and Mitch. So very obviously, Charlotte, Jess, and Marley are now in this little minority. Does not bode well for them at all. But I think of the 3 of them, honestly, I think Charlotte's probably the one that could flip the easiest. I also do think if we want to jump back to Speculation Corner for the hottest of moments, I do think that Jess would be the one targeted over Marley. Because I do think Jess is a little bit more of a threat.
Like, talking about that cage challenge, if Jess is there, I feel like it's something she could do.
I think Jess could do it. I think because someone like a Charlotte maybe could.
SJ looks like she's struggling in the
Sid
promo.
Also looked like he was struggling in the promo.
And then there was also that other promo where Brenton was underwater.
Yeah, it seems like Hell Week is just water Hell Week, which I'm not a fan of because I don't like being underwater. Not my jam, not my zhuzh.
And there looked like a lot of sand, if I'm not mistaken.
I also don't like sand. It gets everywhere. It's like glitter. It's like less fabulous glitter.
It's worse than glitter.
It is worse than glitter. But yeah, I don't know. I agree with you. I think we're going to get a big eviction this week. I'm going to say likely that it's unfortunately going to be Jess. I do think now that Danny has sort of flipped, I think this is kind of the end for Jess. Unless she wins out.
Well, I feel like they're giving her this like straight. This is it. The editing for BBAU is so weird. Mm-hmm. With Jess, it was kind of like, are they going to give her is she the one who's getting Danny out? And then ends up going out after.
I could see that.
Like, because like they're giving us this like narrative where Jess was keeping it in the back of her mind because of the Katie thing. And then I wouldn't be surprised if she ends up winning the thing in the cage in the water. Danny ends up leaving, and then they take Jess out following, like the next challenge.
Do you think the water cage challenge is going to be a nomination challenge? Because it looked like
I feel like it might be.
It looked like it was just in the regular backyard from what I saw in the promo. I could be wrong. It didn't look like it was in the yard.
That could be the shopping task.
I feel like all the Hell Week stuff specifically is going to be the shopping task or like a luxury task. That's kind of where I feel like it might go. But yeah, I don't know. It's going to be an interesting week.
I'm excited. And I'm not excited. I
like almost everyone at this point, so I just don't want anyone to go, honestly.
Yeah, and Hell Week sounds like hell.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know if I'd want to be part of a Hell Week.
I would self-evict. No, I'm kidding. I wouldn't do that, but like I would want to self-evict.
You'll be in the DR crying.
Oh, 100%. Absolutely.
Big Brother, can you play me some Eurovision?
Oh my God. Yes, absolutely.
To soothe my soul.
Yes, of course. But yes, as always, thank y'all so much for joining us for yet another Saturday Kiki. If you are not already,
what do we have coming?
Well, I'm gonna plug the Twitter first, and then we'll get there. Make sure you're following us on Twitter for all things Fallout. At the Fallout TV, at Jordyn Lagace, and at Jim Leader Logan with an extra N, because just gonna leave it at this point. I'm over it.
It is what it is.
It is what it is. If you want to listen to our audio versions, the link tree is provided. It is also on our Twitter. Coming up in the week, obviously, we have our BBAU recaps, as always, Wednesday and Saturday, 10:30 p.m. EDT, or Thursday and Sunday, 12:30 p.m. AEDT for our Australian audiences. And Jordyn, do you want to tell them about the fun, exciting other thing?
I am not ready. Let's do it.
Well, if you're listening or watching on the day we upload this on a good old Saturday, tomorrow we are going to be doing our cast assessment for Survivor South Africa Immunity Island. I'm excited. One of my favorite franchises of Survivor is back, Jordyn, and I am thrilled. So
Immunity Island sounds like a lot of idols.
You know what it also sounds like, Jordyn? We're going to have a lot of Speculation Corner tomorrow. Yay. Very excited. So that is going to be our normal time as well for our Survivor South Africa coverage is going to be Sunday at 11:30 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. I know that is very late for our East Coast audiences, but the reason we're doing it is because that also falls at 5:30 a.m. South Africa Standard Time. So we want to be a little bit more inclusive of our international audiences, because not everyone that watches Survivor or Big Brother or all that stuff lives, in North America like we do. So we're going to be live 11:30 p.m. EDT, 5:30 a.m. on Monday, South Africa Standard Time, talking all things this crazy bunch of South African survivors, and I am beyond excited. Plus, keep a lookout for some other all-star related things in the coming few days.
We're kicking up the programming, kids.
Just a little bit. Actually, you know what? I don't think anyone's really surprised. We're covering Drag Race All-Stars. Shocker, spoiler, shock. And that'll be coming. We'll be doing our cast assessment here in the next couple days and getting that out to you as well. Super excited. This All-Star cast is everything, Jordyn. I'm so excited to talk about most of this cast.
And there's already drama brewing in the cast.
We will be talking about the drama too, because oh, good Lord, the drama is everything. The drama is everything. It is no doubt going to be an amazing season. So with that,
somebody is always watching.
And sometimes it's Sonia Kruger. Night, y'all.